Artie Lange Show, Craig Kilborn, John Ritchie. We're joined by former professional tennis player.
Wow, that's nice.
And now a comedian,
Yeah.
and is Michael Kosta. Hello, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me. And it's nice to hear professional and tennis when describing me, because it was that weird, you know, I wasn't an amateur because that was college. I was not playing in the Grand Slams. That's professional. So was I a semi-professional?
Did you get
paid?
I did.
Yes, I got
There
paid
you
to
go.
play tennis.
Yeah.
You know, I mentioned that I had heard of your name, and John said, "There's no way you could have heard." I said, "No, I've heard." And then they told me, I said,
thanks, John.
Was he ranked in the top 100? And they said, no, 860 or
64. Yeah.
You were ranked 64?
864.
So I'm trying to figure out if I was a golfer I heard of named Costa, or who is
There was a Carlos Costa from Spain who was probably 64 in the world in tennis. And the fact that Craig Kilborn, a man that I grew up watching on television, thought that he knew me means I've already made it.
Yeah.
I've already. Now he was referring to a Spanish tennis player, but I'm happy with that. I played tournaments, Craig, where when I would swear at the umpire, I would get fined $75, and that was also what I got paid that week.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I mean, you would win one round at a future or a satellite tournament, and you make $111.
Is it? What does it do for your confidence when you're not ranked in the top 700?
Right. Well, you know what pisses me off, frankly, is when I tell people in the United States of America, which is the country that we're currently in, they laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they ranked that many.
Yeah.
But when I tell people in England or Australia or any other country that values tennis, they go, "Oh, that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good."
Do you know those? It reminds me. You go to those basketball games, and they have during the timeouts the little guys on the trampolines, the gymnastic guys, and I always say, that guy has a girlfriend, and he's on stage right now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But no, I was wondering, like, was your girlfriend or girlfriend supportive of you when you were?
So I played tennis at University of Illinois, and we were the first team north of Atlanta to ever become #1 in the NCAA, and they won the national championship in 2003.
Or were you?
I graduated 2002. Once I graduated, they won the national championship.
So do you
that
feel
kind
like
of sums up my entire
Yes.
tennis playing career.
Yeah.
But the girlfriend I had was supportive of my tennis and the team. We also had, and I would love to hear your
How was she
take on
supportive
this.
of the team?
I think you know how. As long as I got to watch, I was okay with that. No, we also had what we called tennis-titutes, which were women that as long as they slept with 3 or more of our players, they earned that badge. But I can only imagine as a Michigan football player, because I'm dealing with tennis here.
From Ann Arbor.
From Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
It's a different ball game, tennis. I know that you don't like going there, but I'm asking you to.
I don't think I reaped the benefits in any way.
But there were
when I was
collegiate
there.
football ladies that enjoyed the jersey.
Definitely at Michigan, definitely.
Yes, correct.
At Stanford, no, none to speak of.
Well, at Montana State.
Yeah, Montana State.
There was a lot of skiing going on. No, I wanted to. I liked tennis in the 70s. I used to watch Bjorn Borg. I was a fan. I've interviewed McEnroe a number of times.
Have you?
And it was funny because I'm a sports fan, and my dad would talk about McEnroe's hands at the net.
Sure.
And we talked about Larry Bird's hands. I mean, there's a thing about the touch.
Sure.
So I mentioned this to McEnroe. I said, "Your hands at the net, unreal."
Yeah.
You know, and I said, "You were playing with a wood racket," and he loved that when I told him that. He says, "I like to think that I was the last guy that could play with a wood racket at that level." I mean, he really, but he was, and I heard he didn't like to practice. He liked to play doubles because that was the way.
Yes, that's how he
How
practiced.
good was McEnroe?
Well, we just had him on our show on Crowd Goes Wild with Regis Philbin, and it was really fun to chat with him because based off of my performance as a professional tennis player, what fascinates me most about John McEnroe is Patrick McEnroe. His brother, who was ranked 22 in the world and was second best in his household.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Here's me
Yeah.
who did everything I could to make it as far as I could in tennis, and I got to 864. And
Right.
here's a guy who is world class 22, and he cannot beat his brother. And not that he's beat his brother. His brother would beat him 6-1, 6-0, 6-1.
Oh.
The thing that stands out to me about Johnny Mac from a tennis standpoint is the hands. It's the same thing you just said. Of course, there's him being a brat and him. No one has ever had hands like this. And I know it sounds funny to say, but it was just these wooden rackets are like this table. There is no feel at all.
We have a wooden racket
and yet
here.
he was insane. Do you have a wooden racket here?
I don't understand why that makes such a big difference. I mean, the wood racket compared to whatever the
John,
composite
stop
stuff.
it. Figure it out.
really
Get out
don't.
of here, John.
Why does that mean
that's
his
just
hands
the
are
racket.
so great?
Feel this
because
thing.
it was. But what do you mean by hands?
Well, they
like
also
he just
use
had a
Touch. He had a great touch at the
Touch.
net. He had a great touch at the net.
So
with
he could
wood,
take
it's harder to have touch?
He could take an incoming ball, and
Feels
it's
pretty
hard to
good.
not go into sexual innuendo here. He could take an incoming ball and through his soft hands play a softer
kinda-
shot than what came in.
Got it.
Let me ask
I
you.
understand.
Let me ask you something else, because I'm
this.
as you're fascinated
Yes.
with number 22, Patrick McEnroe. Someone should take that out of his hands. He's
I'll leave that to the professional.
Thank you.
864.
Yeah.
Now, what is the weakness of your? Is it foot speed? Is it first serve strength? I mean, is it bad?
Neither of those.
What was your weakness?
Neither of those. My weakness was I had one weapon, which was my serve. And you need two at least. My forehand on a good day could maybe crack an egg. I had a terrible forehand. And as soon as my opponent figured that out, it was, I won a lot of first sets. Big serve, I was competitive, I would get in people's faces. I'd win the first set, and then they would eventually go, I think if I just hit it to his forehand,
Wow.
I'm going to win the match.
This is embarrassing. I'm getting uncomfortable right now.
That's why I'm a comedian now and
Yes.
not a tennis player.
Wait,
Don't people, I mean, in tennis, in football,
Yeah.
everything is videotaped or whatever you call
Yeah.
it, digitally taped. Every practice, every game,
Sure,
of course.
sure.
And then you watch that stuff before your matches. In tennis,
There's
you don't watch tape?
5,000 world-ranked players right now. I can't, if I'm in Zihuatanejo, Mexico playing a future, which I was in, which is also, if it sounds familiar,
know what a future
it's
is.
the city where Andy Dufresne escaped prison to in Shawshank Redemption.
No way.
A future is the equivalent of single A baseball tennis, professional tennis.
Okay.
So it's a very small tournament. They call it a future.
So there's not tape on some of the future
There's just no
players.
tape. There's just no way. I mean,
They're from all over the world.
you get $2,000 to win the tournament.
Right.
So is there tape on a single A pitcher? Actually, I don't know. It's a good question. Would you know that?
Probably.
Somewhere,
I would
huh?
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me hit you with a random, both of you guys,
Go.
a random
Craig Kilborn,
question. I had this theory. And again, you're a youngster, but you did you see McEnroe when he used to play and complain?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, my father, when we had Mac on the show, I told him, sorry to interrupt, Craig, my father and I used to pop popcorn, sit down, and watch his matches. I mean, that's how entertaining this person was.
Yeah.
Well, I had great interviews with him on the old show, but I did a little commentary about how a father and son were almost divided. The son liked this handsome blonde from Sweden who was calm, the Iceborg, and then there was this American brat the father
Right.
liked, and it divided us because I did not like him. It was kind of like Kobe, where I appreciate their game later when they get older.
Sure.
So I rooted for McEnroe when he was older.
Sure.
But I had this theory because I don't like hotheads, and whenever he would go over and start whining to the umpire, we all got uncomfortable. However, Bobby Knight, who has a more of an anger management problem than McEnroe, when he would take his sweater and roll it up or throw the chair, we didn't necessarily get uncomfortable. We started laughing, go, oh, look at Bobby Knight. This is exciting.
Yeah.
So the difference between whining and then this macho
Sure.
Bobby Knight, I mean, it's like when Sam Weiss said, you don't live in Cleveland. You remember what he said? It was kind of dynamic. Did you have were you uncomfortable when McEnroe freaked out?
That is a great
Well,
question.
most of the questions
Yes.
are going to fall in that cat. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm uncomfortable watching Bruno, Sacha Baron Cohen. You know, like
Everyone is.
how fearless he. I was uncomfortable watching Stephen Colbert roast President Bush. I couldn't believe how fearless he was.
Right.
To me, McEnroe, it was entertainment. And so I was never uncomfortable with him. Now, as I got older, I appreciated Borg more. And I appreciated how many different ranges of emotions you feel on the tennis court. You're by yourself. There is no teammate to help you out. And yet he was just flatlined. I mean, it was so stoic. As a kid, I found John McEnroe to be almost an animation. It was almost fun entertainment. But now as I get older, I go, man, that guy kept it together. Insane. I mean, I love Bjorn Borg.
Yeah.
I went for him as Halloween. If you can pull up my
Really?
Twitter, you can find the terrible picture of me as Bjorn Borg.
You know what? I want you to stick around. I think you're a good kid. Let's take a break. More with Michael Kosta after this.
All right,
Stay with
thanks.
us.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.